Hey guys, Kasem here. So in this video, we're going to talk about 4 of the most common SEO mistakes I see being made today. So I'm going to hop into my computer and we're going to go over it. So without further ado, let's get into it. You're not going to want to miss any of these, so pay close attention. All right guys, so like I said, the 4 most common mistakes that I see a lot of SEOs making. Let's get right into it. First off is overusing exact match anchor text, and you can even add partial match anchor text to this as well. Basically, like, you guys have, the guys I'm talking about here have the thought process of the more that I use exact or partial match anchors, the more or higher chance I have of ranking. And that's just a really outdated way of thinking, and it's been outdated for many years now, because Google is really smart. Their algorithm is a lot smarter now, and they know what your site or your page is about without you needing to spam exact match or partial match anchors. And when you do that, when you have a lot of exact and partial match anchors, that's showing Google that these guys are trying to game the system. It's one of the easiest signs for them to see this is unnatural. No site naturally gets these types of anchors at such a high volume, and then they filter you out. They don't even need to penalize you in a lot of scenarios. They just filter you, and you're left wondering, why am I not ranking? I'm sending all these links, and they can be high quality links. They can be the highest quality links, but when you have all these exact match anchors, nothing's going to help you, and you're just setting yourself up for failure. So with a lot of things in SEO, what you want to do is you want to see what the competition is doing, mimic what they're doing, the guys that are ranking in the top 3, top 5, all that, and do what they are doing, and be even slightly more cautious, especially if you're a newer site. A lot of times the top 3 or top 5 guys can get away with being a little bit more aggressive with their link building or even their on page. So you might want to go a little bit more cautious until you are on like that first page or top 5. Then you can kind of test things to get to that top spot. But being more cautious generally is a good rule of thumb. So moving on, over optimizing on page is also another thing. So same with off page, on page, same deal. So they have the similar thought process as like I just mentioned, with exact match anchors, where they think, the more optimized the better. I'm going to show that this whole page is about skateboards, so I'm going to have skateboard 100 times in a 1,000-word article, and then they wonder why they don't rank. So adding keywords naturally where it makes sense. That's all you really need. If you're talking about like the best skateboard under $100, you have that in like an H2, and then you have it maybe once in the body of the text. That's all you really need for the most part. Of course, like with everything that I'm mentioning, mimic the competition and see what they are doing. That's the easiest way that you can see what works, because most niches are different in a lot of different ways in terms of how much keyword density you can get away with, anchor text distribution you can get away with, all that stuff. So see what the competition is doing and mimic that, guys. Now moving on to low quality links. So a lot of people are sending low quality links, a lot of times because it's cheaper, and maybe they don't know better, and they can't differentiate what quality is, like the high versus low quality. So first off, like, I see social bookmarks still being used today, and that just doesn't make any sense. They don't work at all, guys. If you don't use them, don't worry about it. Just don't even think about using them, because it doesn't work at all, and you're literally just lighting your money on fire. So moving on from that, shady PBNs as well. Like, these PBN links that are being sold for like 10, 15, 20 bucks, they just don't really work, guys. Like, maybe you could use them as tier 2s, so sending them to like some guest posts, using some pretty branded or generic anchor text, like nothing that you don't want to use super heavy or exact match anchor text with it. So maybe you could use it for tier 2s, like I said, but sending those directly to your money site is a no. But that's not meaning that you can't send high quality PBNs to money sites, because those work, but those are like $100 plus per link, or maybe 15, 20 bucks a month, depends on which vendor you go with. But those high quality PBNs, getting them from a high quality vendor, those are okay. So PBNs still work, guys. I use them all the time, and they see great results with them, but don't use those low quality ones. And same thing goes with guest posts. Everyone loves guest posts for the most part, but the low quality ones, they just don't really work that well either. So those are ones that have like little to no traffic, organic traffic I mean, which means they have keywords that are ranking in Google and they're getting traffic from Google themselves. That's a great sign. Like if a site has a lot of traffic, organic traffic coming from Google, that means that they're generally a pretty healthy site, or else they wouldn't be getting that traffic. So along with that, if they have like low referring domains, just not having a lot of referring domains, you're not going to get a lot of power from an inner page link especially, which is what these guest posts are. And then also getting spammy referring domains is not a good sign at all either. Of course, there can be some, they can have some spammy referring domains even if it's a high quality site. That's why you want to take in multiple factors. But they generally, if they have a couple spammy referring domains, which a lot of big sites do have because you can't control who links to you sometimes, right? But in general, they're going to have higher quality referring domains. So that is that. Lastly here, guys, bad site design and user experience. This is one of the biggest ones that I see people overlooking. So time on site, like these on-page factors are getting more and more important. Time on site is very important because if Google sees that these visitors are going on your site and then they're just bouncing really quickly, that means that the content on your site must not be high quality and must not be answering their question that well. So sometimes, of course, there can be some nuance to this if they're asking a quick question, and if it makes sense, then for them to just look at it really quickly then bounce off, that's okay, of course. But Google's pretty smart with this as well, like I mentioned with the other things. But the thing is, like, if your time on site is 10 seconds and your whole competition are all like 40 seconds, then that's a red flag. So you want to make sure that you don't make any reason for a visitor to just bounce off your site because you have like ads that are popping up on them and stuff like that they don't like, which you shouldn't really. I mean, you guys all know how that works. Like when you go on a site and you get hit up with like 3 pop-ups, that is not a good look. You want to get off that site, right? So just use the same logic there. Or if you just have like a low quality design that just is ugly and or ugly and strains their eyes, then you don't want that, right? So just basic things like that. Putting some effort into design matters, whether that's you yourself or you're hiring someone, either way. And then lastly, page speed does matter, guys, especially time to first byte. So the time it takes for the initial loading to occur, that matters a lot. So make sure you have that. You want to have a good host for that, things of that nature. So if you're looking for a good host, I'll link it in the description down below. But that's going to be pretty much it, guys. Let's summarize this for you really concisely here. So number 1, you want to vary your anchor text. Keep it mostly branded. Look at your competition with all of these, and just be more cautious with it, guys. You don't have to do a lot of anchor text that's exact match or partial match. And then number 2, keeping keyword density of your on page like similar to your competitors, if not slightly less. Just look at your top 3 to 5 competitors and keep it around in that range, not more, guys. Try not to do much more. You can start experimenting with that once you get to like the page 1 area, or if you're having trouble with something with like stuck on page 2, then maybe you can do that. But you should be able to get a lot of ranking increases with just keeping the keyword density similar to your competition. It's not rocket science. So 3rd, obtaining high quality links. None of that like spammy PBNs, low quality guest posts, none of that stuff, guys. Keep it high quality. You will have to pay more, but if you pay less and you get $0, or if it's an affiliate site, if you're not getting any commissions, or if it's a client site, if you're not ranking them, they're going to stop paying you. So would you rather pay a little bit more on the front end and then make more on the back end, or pay less on the front end and then make little to none after that? So that's what I would recommend. And lastly here, again, focus it on designing a high quality site with good page speed, all that stuff. So just the theme here, guys, is keep things high quality, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to rank, and you're going to rank a lot more often than not. You're going to deal with these like pesky stuck on page 2 issues or not even getting to page 2 issues, you're going to deal with that a lot less. And then if you do deal with it, then it's a lot easier to diagnose, because maybe you have 1 or 2 small mistakes you're making instead of 4, 5, 6 mistakes where it could be any one of them keeping you off the first page. So that is it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. I will see you guys in the next one.